You are tuned to ARP on the Accelerated Radio Network. It's 12 noon, and it's time to have lunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Lunch with the Finance Bunch. Bringing money talk you can understand. And now here's your host, Miss Charline.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Miss Charline, and welcome to Lunch with the Finance Bunch. I am privileged, honored, and excited today. I have two gentlemen in our studio I know they are going to enlighten us about so much. So strap yourself in, get ready, because we're going on a ride of a lifetime. Good afternoon, Bishop Ed.
How are you, Charline?
I'm doing just fine. And Mr. Donovan, how are you today, sir?
I'm amazing.
Yes.
I am amazing, yes.
Yes. I am thank you both for making the time to come on the show. I feel so honored.
Especially a couple of days before Christmas.
Especially a couple of days before Christmas. Yes, I feel privileged. Thank you. Today, our show is going to be discussing how to awaken your potential in life, in business, in finance, and even in relationships. So let's get to know our guest a little bit. Bishop Ed, you've been on our show quite a number of times, and we love having you. And I just want to get the ball rolling by asking you, as a return guest, so we can get just a bit of information from you. How do you define your involvement with the Awyken Life Coaching? How do you define yours?
Well, I'm the founder of Awyken, which really was birthed out of my heart from the Lord to help people live a more fulfilled life. And my core purpose is to help people live for God's purpose. And so oftentimes people need help. And so I began to realize that coaching would play a very important role. And so I'm the founder, I'm the president of it, but I have team members that play very, very key roles in helping us deliver trainers that are skilled in life coaching, as well as those that actually coach.
That's great. And then because Awyken has become such an important part of the ministry, because you are encouraging people to either become a coach or to receive coaching, how do you balance between your duties as a bishop and as the founder of such a wonderful organization?
You know, one of the things that is key to my life is build teams and build scalability. And so before I became a bishop, I already had identified an assistant to help me in my new role, separate from my assistant that helps me in planning and scheduling as a pastor. And then I have other areas of ministry. We have leaders that serve in ministry, but even outside, like for example, Awyken, the person who works with me very closely and is our master trainer is Tony Houston. And so he became a partner with me in Awyken. And so I don't have to do everything. In fact, he does most of the training. And I'm a part of that, but he does a key part of that training. So I just learned to share the vision, find people that have a similar heart and passion, and help them, and we find what place of connection where our passions and visions intersect.
Yes.
And that's what I'm about.
So we don't have to, just because we have a vision, and we don't have to do it alone, you know.
I was thinking on the way here, there's a study I looked at, 90% of African-American business owners have one employee. 90%.
Wow.
And Latinos is probably maybe 40%. They have on average maybe 7 or 8 to average of 10. Caucasians maybe have 20 or 30 on average. You look at our big and small companies.
Yes.
African Americans, it's mostly one person. And I thought about a drive in here. Why are we thinking just me?
Right.
We have to learn to share vision and trust and develop, and unless we do that, we're going to limit capacity what God wants to do.
I agree. What do you feel is the importance of offering the Awyken program to others within the community?
Well, much of what I do oftentimes starts with the church, but the way we do our church and manage our church is go beyond the church as well. So it's consistent how I do life and how I do ministry. And it is important because people need to get help and help them to unpack their life and walk in purpose. And oftentimes there's obstacles, there's fears, they need strategies. and they need to ask themselves the right questions. We like to say it this way in Awyken, we want to ask you the question nobody's asking you.
Okay.
And then they start thinking about some deep questions that they need to answer that only they can answer. I can answer it for them.
Yes. Now, what do you believe is the most significant or important thing that when one becomes a part of Awyken, that they take away from that experience?
Mm-hmm. That's good. Well, there's tools of how to help people unpack what's inside of them. I like to call it this way. It's to unleash your potential. But the key about Awyken is really asking questions, probing questions, helping people to think about and discover for themselves. Because if I tell them, and I may give them the right answer, then a couple of things. They don't know, they haven't learned how to discover for themselves.
Yes.
They just follow directions. But when I'm not there, they don't know what to do. They wait for somebody to tell them what to do. So questioning, not just questioning themselves, but asking questions they can answer in their own mind. That is the greatness of the human capacity God has put in man.
Critical thinking.
Critical thinking is another way of saying it. But you got to ask questions. And that's what Jesus did a lot. He was always asking questions. So we employ that as, and I would say it's one of the most outstanding features in the Awyken Coach training.
Wow. Now, we have a question that I saw came up on my phone from a listener, and her name is Sarah, and she wants to know how one can use the Awyken certification as a resume builder. How can they use that?
Well, rather than say resume builder, Sarah, I would say it's part of your tool box. It's not just to look good on your resume, but it's something you will plan to use and you offer to your clients or customers in a very real way. And so coaching is a powerful skill. There are doctors and nurses that use coaching because they want to help the patient get better and help them overcome the bad habits and the bad thinking why they don't take their medicine, and they don't continue with the routines and the recommended procedures and processes. And so they want to help them get to the core of what's holding you back. And so the coaching skill is huge, and you put that as part of your toolbox because you can do more than coaching. There are other skill sets people should have. And then you can offer that as part of your package. And coaching becoming more popular. In fact, I think it's the number one, if not the number two, fastest growing profession in the world is professional coaching.
Great. Now, I'm going to take the questions away from coaching right now and be just a little bit more personal with you because you have such a busy life and, multifaceted life. You definitely work as the bishop. You're the head of the church. You are the visionary for Awyken. How do you spend your time? When you have playtime, what do you do?
Well, two things. I do take vacations. I probably average about 5 weeks a year, just getting away, mostly with my wife.
That's good.
And then I add at least 1 week in a full week. That includes my adult children and my grandchildren. But in addition to that, I have a pace. And to me, that's one of the most important aspects. I take time off to rest. I have days when I rest. And then what I do, I use the day itself as a pacing. So sometimes I do have a full day and I go from morning till evening. But then I make sure in that week I have times when I'm doing very little. And so I want to have time to think, to plan. And even before I leave the house, I've already took time to pray and to spend time in the Word. But I also do that at during the day, in middle of the day or evening. So I kind of pace it out and spread it out because life can be very complicated. There are people I need to meet early in the morning sometimes.
Yes.
Or in the afternoon. And so I'm not rigid, but I make sure I'm going to look at the whole thing. I make sure there's space for a good pacing so I can kind of breathe, if you would, in life.
Yes.
And then I can enjoy the ride. It's like a runner. See, a long-distance runner is running, and when we see these guys and ladies running long distance, they're running rather fast.
That's right.
But they're not running like a sprinter, like the person that runs a 100-yard dash. So they're running, and they're running quickly, but they learn how to breathe as they run. So they learn how to breathe, and so they're not exhausted. That's why they can run 10 miles, 20 miles, 26 miles, because they've learned how to pace themselves, to breathe, and to them, it's not overexerting because that's what they've trained themselves. So that's what I've learned to do, and it took me a while to get there. I didn't start off that way. even as a pastor, I was kind of overdoing it. So I really began to listen to my mentors, and I took their advice.
Yes. And do you believe that when you pace yourself, you're more effective?
Oh yeah, you're not as tired. You're more alert. You're more. You anticipate what the day has for you. You come prepared because you thought about it. It's just a better way to live and more relaxed. Plus less stress in your life. To me, it works well for me.
Thank you.
You're
now,
welcome.
Our guest here, Donovan has been on my radar for quite a while.
All right.
And the reason being is because he's a life coach with Awyken.
Yes.
And he has his own business that he's built.
Yes.
And so, Donovan, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself because you're a new guest on our show, and we're happy to have you here. So just tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right. Well, first of all, I love you.
Well, thank you.
It was
Love
awesome
you too.
connecting with you outside. Like, we think so much alike,
We
and
do.
that made me happy to know that pre-existed before we got here. So that
Yes.
just helps me know that this is a divine connection. When you connect with somebody on that level, this was an assignment. We were supposed to have this happen. So I'm happy these paths have finally crossed.
Definitely.
About myself, I'm a life coach with Awyken. It just fit so well into my purpose, and it gave me the tools I needed to continue to do what God has called me to do. So I am a photographer. I started doing that a while ago. I also do personal training, physical fitness. I'm also an author. I have a book out called Before the I Do, which is my shirt.
Before the I do.
I'm finishing up a book called Evolving the Entrepreneur, which should be out in April 1st.
Okay.
Probably get that published then. And so outside of that, I really love to do charity work. I work with suicide prevention and depression groups. I work with inner city youth. That's just kind of a ball of who I am. I just love to share my gifts and talents with, whoever's in need of them.
Now, someone told me you were working out of the country recently.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, the wonderful Awyken organization, we had a business opportunity, a partnership opportunity in the country of Brazil to connect with pastors and leaders out there and do a level 1 training for them. And so we went and connected with about 60 pastors and leaders. Tony Husted and I, we did a training, and we took them through the level 1 to really equip them with tools they need to operate more effectively and efficiently, what God has called them to do. And it was phenomenal. It was really phenomenal, yeah.
Pastor Ed is getting ready to say something. I can
No,
see him.
I'm
He's
just
like,
smiling. I'm just smiling. Yeah,
proud of Donovan.
Oh yeah. And I wasn't even there.
Yeah.
So that's an example that you want to be able to share the vision.
Yes.
Allow other people that not just see it but feel it and have passion and can work with you, whatever that may be.
Yes.
And then you can step away. It doesn't mean you're not involved, but you can't do every single thing.
Right.
And for the organization to continue and maximize its potential, it has to have people that represent the vision to go be a part and then get rewarded, have an opportunity to feel like it's part of theirs. And so that's an example. They did a good job, a wonderful job. And I wasn't even there. But I'm going next time, though.
Definitely. But, that goes back to, when you have people on your team who are prepared, you can, reach a greater audience. Like now you're international with Awyken. You can reach more people in more countries when you have more than just yourself. And I go back to what you said about, most African-American businesses, 90% of them are run by one person. So that's not a realistic pace. Not if you want to create something that's going to last and that's going to be global. You're going to have to include more people and train them in the way that the company's model says. And so, Donovan, for you, getting that type of training, how did that grow your business?
The training is phenomenal because it evolved me as an entrepreneur. And like you said, just with the vision, it's not just partner with someone who gets the vision. They have to also grasp a hold of the principles and the morals. And I think that's what it prohibits people from wanting to partner, because I don't need you to just know, the vision that I have. I need you to understand the principles and the things that I'm willing and not willing to do to make sure that vision comes to pass. I think that's a big hindrance for a lot of people. But for me, it wasn't so much just the program I went through. It's what happened to me.
Okay.
That's good.
Share that.
It's what happened to me. It's like Bishop said, it's not a real big resume builder. That's like me saying I'm a Christian and I can't prove it.
Yes.
So what's the point of me being associated with Awyken, but I can't prove it? I can't prove that I have actually been awakened. I went through the program, but haven't acquired the tools. There should be some evidence of it. So for me, it wasn't just going through the program. I love that part of it. And I love the association I have with these wonderful people of vision and morals, but it was what I became in the process. I have this quote that I live by: don't be afraid to sacrifice who you are for what you can become. Yes. And so when I became awakened, I realized more of the potential that was already inside of me. And so in my personal business, the biggest thing it's done for me is relieve the frustration and the weight from doing what I'm doing now. What used to take me 8 hours in a workday, I can do in 1 hour, because I realized that before I was trying to do my part, their part, and God's part.
Yes. Yes. Well, please
That's a long day.
That's a long day.
That's a long day.
When you're trying to do your part, their part, and God's part.
Yeah.
That's a very long day.
That's a long life.
No, that's a short life.
That's a short life.
Right. That's good.
So what I realize now is that, when I realize what I've been called to do, and I don't have to do, and if I do their part, I do them an injustice.
That's absolutely
because that's not
right.
empowerment, and I can't do God's part.
Yes.
So that's a waste of time. And so what has helped me to just really, let them carry their own yoke, realize how strong and powerful they are, help them to rely more on their gift from God and God himself. And I just sit back and just say, I go do it.
Yes. And isn't it wonderful? Yes, go right ahead.
Donovan made a statement, and shared a statement about a year or so ago about how we not just gave him an opportunity, we believed in him. And even to the extent where he published in his book, we put our logo as a part of endorsement. And if you can share a bit about that, because that really comes down to, again, to the partnership, relationships.
Yes.
There's a reason why so many businesses is just them. They get beyond the trust issue, be willing to believe in somebody else. But it goes back to the principle of the kingdom. You sow, you shall reap.
That's right.
And the kind you sow is the kind you reap.
That's right.
You put confidence, give someone else a chance, they'll put confidence in you and give you a chance.
That's right.
Yeah. The big thing for me was it's a study or a tool I use in my relationship coaching. It's about the difference between a couple and partners.
Yes.
See, we have a couple of people in this room, but we don't know who's for who. And a partnership is when you guys have come together to attack a specific goal or a specific enemy. And so Awyken, they partnered with me, because the thing that keeps you away from partnership is competition.
Yes.
That's what keeps people in the couple phase. Like we're a couple of people who have the same vision in mind, but we're really not for each other. I want to do better than you. Partners understand I've killed and sacrificed myself so that we can become one. And so Awyken, they proved to me that they were my partners by, associating themselves with me, not asking for any of the proceeds, just really a support. A support without them having to have any kind of gain on their own. That was a beautiful situation. They put the name on the book. They endorsed me, and I get to use their name freely. And it's just like, wow, like this is real. Like, you guys really love me. Like, to associate with me. But again, I caught on to the vision, the morals, and the principles also.
But it goes back to knowing your part in the vision. And being comfortable in what you bring to the table, and not being in competition with the other partners, right? Staying in your own lane, right? Yeah,
staying in your own lane. I mean, that's the biggest issue. Even when it comes to entrepreneurship, people, they feel like I have to do better than the next person. You don't. Just do your best.
Yes.
But that runs so deep.
It really does.
You can't really do that right now, but it runs real deep. To get people from that mindset.
Now that brings me to my next question, and it's pretty apparent to me. What do you specialize in coaching specifically?
Well, right now in this season, because things are specific to seasons.
That's right.
In this season, leadership and relationships.
Okay.
And so leadership and relationship components, I'm really passionate about the connection humans have with other humans. I think one of the biggest issues in the world right now is that humans don't trust humans.
That's right.
And it's showing itself in so many different areas. Humans don't trust humans.
That's absolutely right.
And that's starting so many conflicts. So in a business environment, I'm trying to help from a leadership standpoint to bridge gaps between employees and employer.
Yes.
And then in the home life, even with husband and wife or parent and child, to bridge those gaps. So that's the relationship aspect of it. So I'm trying to bridge those gaps together so that humans can trust humans again, and because we're stronger together and we can fulfill God's purpose as a collective versus individually. Like Bishop said, we're very limited. And so that's my specialty right now in this season, to really mend those relationships.
And I like the fact that you said right now in this season, because you're not limited. You know, we place limits on ourselves that should not exist. You know, so I really appreciate you saying that in this season, because who knows what will evolve, and I'm sure you have plans. But, you know, we have to leave ourselves open for possibility. And I think sometimes we restrict ourselves because we feel that this is what my focus is, but it doesn't have to be your focus always.
No, we have this, I know that I've had this obsession with, I want to have proven that I've arrived at this place.
Yes.
It's not about the arrival, it's about the journey. You know, I think a lot of times we want to say I've arrived at this place to somehow validate that we're qualified, or we're, you know, you should look at me, or, you know, it's like this is who I've become, but I'm always in a state of becoming.
Is it quantifying success? Is that how, do you think people try to quantify success by saying they've arrived at a destination?
It's an external quantification.
Success?
It's not internally. And until success becomes an internal thing,
yes,
it's never going to be attained on the outside. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just, that doesn't work.
Ooh, I like this conversation.
We are awakened.
We are definitely awakened. And so I understand what sparked your interest in the relationship aspect of this, you know, but I'd like for you to define it just a little bit more for me.
Define which part?
Why you chose relationships as your first.
Okay, well, that's easy.
Focus.
It chose me.
Okay.
Again, this is getting back to life. My philosophy on life is stop trying to experience life. Let life experience you.
Okay.
A lot of times we're coming from a place of defense and trying to catch up with life, but God didn't intend for it to be that way. Mm-hmm. Life responds to us. It responds to my words and my thoughts.
Yes.
So who's really leading this dance?
Right.
I am. And so until we recognize that life is supposed to be experiencing me, we're always going to be chasing the dream instead of letting it come to us. So relationships chose me. It chose me based on the season of life that I was in, the things that were important to me right now, the things that I'm consciously aware of that didn't affect me throughout, you know, my entire life, just my father not being in my life, and then me having to move from place to place and learning how to value family. And so relationships became a big deal. The reason I wrote Before the I Do was to really help to lower the divorce rate.
Yes.
That was honestly the motivation behind it. So there can be not just fathers in the home. That's not my goal. Don't want to just put fathers in the home. I want happily married, I love you for life, committed couples together in the home, because, you know, that example is what needs to be set to start to get people to realize what the beauty and the benefit of having a community. But it starts in the home. And so that's really where the relationship stemmed from, because I just love people, man. And I want people to love me, and I want us all to just get along and just see how much we can do when we just, you know, stop dividing ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's where it started.
Wow. Now, can you share a memorable success story with us, Donovan?
From just my life or my clients?
When you help rebuild a couple, or their relationship.
I'll be very vague with it, though, you know, because life coaching is confidential.
Of course.
Yes, but I think one of the big ones. I remember a young couple that I was coaching, relationship coaching, and they were just talking about their frustration, you know, saying with each other. Mm-hmm. And so we kind of dived into, well, where did it stem from? I love dealing with the root, not just the fruit, you know? Right. And so what happened was they realized this is where the whole idea behind balancing your work and your relationship came from. I gave them an idea. I had 7 shells. They had this little piece on their table. I went to their house and coached them. And it was, you know, 7 shells in it from like sand, you know, from the beach. I took them out and I gave each of them 7 shells. And I walked them through one of their days based on what they told me. And every time they increased or came up against a conflict, I take a shell away. And so by the time I just talked them through their work day, by the time they got back home, they had like 1 shell left. And I said that this is like your tolerance. This is your level of your capacity for compassion. And so you come back home to spend time with your partner. You started with 7 shells. You only have 1 left. And I said, why does your job have so much access to your peace of mind? Yes. Why does it have so much access to your joy and your capacity of compassion? And so I talked to them about, you know, reserving certain things for your relationship. And what it boiled down to was that I don't believe in balance in life. You prioritize your essentials and you balance your pursuits. Does that make sense to you? So it's like,
makes sense.
I need to water, food, and sleep. are important to me. And so in the entrepreneur world or in my life, relationships are an essential. They're non-negotiable. And so I don't give them the same kind of energy I give my business or my work. I should never open myself up to my job and my employees or coworkers the same way I open up to my spouse. And so there's something that should be reserved, you know what I'm saying, for the spouse. And I think that just the way that I explained it to them with the shells and everything, they had this huge awakening. And their relationship really hasn't been the same since. Now when they get up in the morning, they're intentional about, babe, I'm only taking 3 shells with me to work today.
Right.
I'm going to save the other 4 for you.
Exactly.
So that when I get home, you're not on my last nerve.
Exactly.
Well, I ain't done nothing to you. How'd I get on your last nerve?
Right.
Well, my job spent all the rest of my nerves. So now by default, you're on my last one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
that was
good.
one of my favorites.
That's a great one. That's a great one. That's a great one. What has the Awyken program done for you as an individual? How has it bettered your career, your life, your journey, personally?
It's made it easier. It's made my life easier. It's like Bishop said, you know, he is, Bishop really, when I first got to Zoe, he really helped me with my priorities. He told me that it doesn't matter if he's bishop, pastor, whatever, that his life revolves around his marriage.
Yes.
That is the core piece. It wasn't just a component of his life. That was a core piece in which everything revolved around. And so just learning that from him and then going through the Awyken program, I really recognized how the Bible says that a dull axe requires much strength.
Yes.
So sharpen your axe. It says that's wisdom. And so what happens is that I've acquired the tool from the Awyken program and I've also sharpened it. So now, it doesn't take me 3-4 months to do it like it would before because not only do I have the tool, but it's sharp. Yes. And so now through the Awyken program, when I coach people or whatever, I can do it, in an hour, 2 hours, and then the rest of my day is free. And it leaves me with so much room to enjoy life now instead of just stressing and staying up all night and trying to figure out how to do things. It's just, it made life a lot easier.
And that brings us to, what do you do for fun, Donovan? What do you consider fun?
I eat for fun. No, I really enjoy good meals. But I love documentaries on Netflix, and I love to go to the gym. Those are both therapeutic for me. So yeah, that's what I do for fun: the gym and Netflix and some good food, maybe Chipotle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I have a personal question for you.
Yes.
Are you in a relationship yourself right now?
No, my relationship that I was in, it ended in April April of this year, and it was mutual understanding, mutual agreement. We have a very systematic way of going about dating and stuff like that, and so presently I am not. Okay. But I know that I will be, and it's part of my mantra, my daily confession, that I will be married soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it. Now, this is the part of the show we call the balance sheet. Now, this segment of the show is called the balance sheet because, and it was brought to us today by Zoe of Whittier. And thank you, Pastor Ed, for supporting our efforts. So this segment was definitely supported by Zoe Christian Fellowship of Whittier. And I'd like to say in that, Pastor, please tell us a little bit about Zoe, because that's where you're the bishop of, have been the pastor of, and the founder of. And it would be disrespectful of me not to take a moment to talk about Zoe Christian Fellowship.
Well, Zoe is a place, it's a church, but
Yes.
I like to refer to it as a family. It's a place where you learn about God, and you learn about yourself, in particular, how God sees you and what God provides for you. But then it provides, as a church, an opportunity to share your gifts, to discover your gifts, to share your gifts. Like we have a big event coming up this Sunday, drama, creative arts, but not just those areas, but also those in business, and careers. It's a church where it's dynamic, the worship is exciting, but the people are good people. One of the things that people constantly say when they visit our church is that they feel the love, and they feel it from the time they get out of their car, walking in the door. They're greeted well. Their experience is positive. We get around 750 to 800 first-time visitors every year coming to our church. And many of them come from out of town. Some of them are local. Some of them may have their own churches. But a good portion end up sticking. And they come because of what they've heard about the church. So people that stick and stay with us, and even what I call our Zoe alumni. There are people, I was talking to a lady not long ago. She reminds me, lives in Texas. She says, Pastor, I know more about what's going on in Zoe than you do. Most people that have moved on with their life because they're walking in purpose, maybe in another state or what have you, some of their best friends are at our church.
That's true.
And they still stay connected. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because they went deep. It wasn't just in a seat and left. They have relationships with their family and their children. So it's a good church. I like to view it as a church that we are a Church of God in Christ church because we're a Church of God in Christ. We're a Methodist church because there's a method in what we do. We're a Pentecostal church. We believe in the values of Pentecost. We're Word of Faith. We teach the Word of Faith, what the Bible says about faith in God. We're a church, and we're a Baptist church. We believe in water baptism. So we represent a church that can embrace all people. We have a lot of Catholics come to our church, and people that may not have been involved in church before at all. So that's kind of who we are.
Okay. Well, thank you. And so this balance sheet part is I ask a series of questions, and they are financial questions, but you can answer them any way you want. And it's just our little check and balance is just to see how savvy you guys are. How about that?
Dun, dun, dun,
Okay. Dun, 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 dun. So, what is the most memorable paycheck you've ever earned? I'll start with you, Pastor Ed.
I would say the most memorable one, and still is, are the ones I have a hand in producing. Okay. Out of taking leadership in getting paid or doing the work that produces a paycheck. You know, to me, getting paid is not the primary goal. It's a byproduct of what I do. And so I feel good about being paid for following my dreams. And so that's what I tell people. When you work with someone else, find a place you can believe in and do things you believe in, and then you feel good about that paycheck. It may not be the largest paycheck you would like to have, but it's a paycheck you feel good about because it matches up with your values and your vision and passion. And so for me, it's the money I earn from the work that I do.
Okay. Now, Donovan, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is your most memorable paycheck?
You know, this has been quite a journey. My most memorable paycheck was at one point in my life, it was really tough. I didn't have a lot of money or anything. I had just recently given my life to Christ, and so I had a lot of things removed from me. So I was living in the basement of my grandfather's church. No shower or anything like that. I really lived on an air mattress and went to the gym to shower and get everything together. But I was also pursuing my acting career. So I did a commercial, and I did a commercial like a year ago. And so I got a little money from it. But at the right time, a residual paycheck came. Wow. And it was enough money to get me out of the basement to put down my first month in my security deposit for my own place. Wow. And so that was huge. I'd been down there long enough. Right. And so when that check came, I'll never forget it. It really did help put me in a different position. But I feel like I had learned what I needed to learn in that season, and that was God's way of saying, okay, now let's move to the next level.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's good. I like that.
I like that too. Okay, next question. What is one purchase you most regret? What is one purchase? Pastor Ed, I'll start with you.
Well, I would say investment. It was an investment in a company that my wife had strongly encouraged me not to do years ago. And but, I have a master's degree in business. Mm-hmm. I worked in corporate America. She didn't. What do you know about business, babe? Let me handle this. And it turned out to be, I lost a lot of money. And what I learned is not that my wife had more financial insight. She didn't have, but it didn't matter how much insight I had. I wasn't listening to the principles of God. Yes. Be in agreement. There's something about the woman intuition, number one, but then your partner for life, your wife, is there to help you and help one another. And to violate that, I'm vulnerable no matter what I do.
Right. Okay, Donovan, you were kind of giggling over there. What was a purchase you made that you regret?
Because sometimes my answers just go in a different direction. I think mine has to do with food. I do not like when I make a bad investment because food is fuel for me. Yes. It fuels my body and my mind, and so it's just so many different thoughts came to mind. I was really upset about a meal And I felt like it was a bad investment. I was so hungry, and I bought this.
Spent money on it.
Yes, and I was like, oh, it was like, yeah. So I think my worst investments collectively would be the food that I put in my body, because I later realized that it was really poison, and it was killing me, and if it was killing me, it was killing my dream. And so that's why I promote health and fitness, because investing in yourself, one of the main ways you do it is through what you put in your body.
Wow. Great answer. Okay, Donovan, I'm going to ask you this question first.
Okay.
What do you know now that you wish you had known back then?
All right, so here we go. This is a big one for me.
Okay.
What I realized was that the purpose that God's given you is more than you can handle, and it's supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
He's giving you a vision and a dream that should scare you. It should make you feel like, how am I supposed to do this? Because God's ultimate goal is to have you rely and trust on him. Yeah. So he's going to give you a vision so big that you can't complete it without him. And so if I would have known that a little earlier in life, I would have stopped trying to prove to God how big of a man I was and how capable I was, and I would have just put all my effort and strength toward trusting him. That would have made life easier and more enjoyable. And I think I missed out on a lot of quality time in my life trying to be this man instead of be this servant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pastor Ed?
Say the question again, please.
What do you know now that you wish you would have known back then?
Wow, number of things. Well, one, as mentioned earlier, listen to my wife. But also to what I had to learn, which is very valuable, is to invest more in people. To not only be intentionally relational, but to add value to them. Not to get to know them, be friendly and outgoing and with friends, but to add value and be strategic about it. And so early on, I was very much a loner. I didn't know how to relate to people. I felt comfortable not doing it because I was a loner. But until I learned to open up and let my fears go, I found people were nice, and just so it worked out. So that's what I know now. I wish I'd known much earlier, is to invest in people and build relationships.
Yes. Okay. I love these answers. Okay. What does success mean to you, Donovan?
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm actually writing about that in a new book, The Evolving Entrepreneur, really helping people define success for you. For me, it's about an internal fulfillment. It's about a fulfillment, knowing that I'm in my lane and I'm doing what I've been called to do, and knowing that God is happy with me.
Okay.
And so when those two things are present, the evidence of their presence is peace. And so when I have that peace inside of me that's beyond logic and beyond emotion, it just rests really deep in me. That's how I know that I'm on my path, and there is success. My success is not dependent upon how people are responding to how I'm operating.
Yes. My
success is based on simply, am I being obedient to what I've been called to do? Bottom line.
Wow. Pastor Ed?
It's a good question. From how I see success is accomplishing and really walking in your purpose and making good progress. That brings a level of satisfaction and accomplishment, which you believe you're born to do. But ultimately, success in the biblical context, the Bible says, a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just. And so leaving something for the next generation, we won't live on this earth as we are today forever. And so it's important that we pass on the experience, even the assets, the vision, and give people a kickstart. I'll never forget it when I first started working out of college, how there are so many young people that were working their first job like me, but they had a kickstart in life. And so much for people, in particular people of color in urban communities, they're the first to go to college or start a business. They're the first in all these areas of life. But there are other people that they have uncles and grandparents and great-grandparents have been doing this for years, and they weren't the first, and maybe they're 31st. And until we start thinking that way, we're not successful. Because what has to happen, our children and the next generation has to start from ground zero once again.
Yes.
I want to chime in on that. One of Bishop's really good friends, Miles Monroe.
Yes.
He said that success without a successor is failure.
That's it.
And so that's keeping you legacy minded. And that's something my bishop is really big on teaching us, is being legacy minded, how it's going to trickle on to later generations.
Yes. So, Bishop Ed, I keep calling you Pastor Ed because
I'm still the pastor.
and you're my pastor and bishop. So, do you feel you're successful?
Oh yeah, very much so, and principally because this is good question.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I live a nice life, but it's really the sense of peace and the sense of oneness and joy in my life that how I really define my success. I'm on a journey. I'm doing what God's called me to do, but it's the peace that I have. Because if I'm working and accomplishing, doing a lot of things in the world standards, but there's no peace in my life, then what is it?
Yes.
No peace. I don't have friends, or the family I do have, we can't get along. We hate one another's guts. I got a wife, but we don't sleep in the same bed. What kind of life is that? And so God is about giving people the opportunity to have what Jesus says, the Zoe, or God kind of life. And it's beyond the things we have today. One day somebody else going to possess that.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Okay? And so we can't take it with us. So how do we enjoy the journey and maximize what God has gifted us with? That includes things, but also talents and visions and so forth.
Yeah. Yes. Donovan.
Yes.
Are you successful?
Yes, I am. And I can say it with a lot of confidence because I've learned to take the power of that definition away from society, because I look at Jesus and they didn't think he was successful. And he was supposed to be the Messiah. So a lot of times people's expectations and idea of what your success is supposed to look like and manifest itself into is skewed. And so you have to own it for yourself. He was very successful, believe it or not. And so within myself, I know that I'm walking in success because again, of the peace and fulfillment that I have, that I can walk in. That's my evidence.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, this is, I know, going to be a very, very short answer to this question. What keeps you up at night? And I'll ask you, Donovan, that first.
What keeps me? I sleep really well. I don't get kept up at night. I don't. I can't remember last time I couldn't get really good sleep. The only time I do wake up in the middle of the night and I can't sleep is because God is trying to give me another idea.
Okay.
And so in the event that happens, that's the only thing. Besides that, I sleep well.
Yes. Bishop Ed?
Very similar answer. I sleep well, but I'm up in and out of bed probably at least 5 or 6 times a night. I'll go use the restroom, but I'm thinking, I'm dreaming, I'm taking notes. My wife will look up and realize I slipped out of bed. I'm in the bathroom, lights on, but I'm taking notes. I'm writing things down, trying not to disturb her. When I'm on vacation, I take books, my Bible number one, but I take other books. I'm reading, I'm thinking, I'm journaling. When I come back off vacation, I come with being energized. Yeah. And so what keeps me awake at night in one context is my vision. But it's not a stressful thing. It's not a distraction. But also I take a lot of naps. Mm-hmm. So when I'm tired, I take a nap. And I can sleep on an airplane. I'll sleep on your couch. I sleep in a chair. I sleep on the floor.
We have pictures of him doing that.
So to me, I've learned the Bible says, enter the rest.
Yes.
And see, I know a guy, and I'll leave this answer with this. A guy was a customer of ours when I was vice president of a bank in L.A. And he did very well. He owned a number of fast food restaurants, and he took a month vacation. And he came back and kind of got, talked to us as bank executives and so forth. And I said, we must have had a lot of time, a lot of rest. He went deep sea fishing. He said, no, I was worried about my business all that time. I need another vacation. He didn't rest.
Yes.
So to learn to rest from the weariness and the stress of life, when I think about vision and purpose, to me, that stimulation is not burdensome to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. Now, Donovan and I kind of looked at each other when you said, because we were talking about how we do some of our most creative thinking on the way to the bathroom or in the bathroom, in the shower. Yeah, so we're going to do a whole show about that.
And the hot tub.
And the hot tub, exactly.
Yeah.
You know what, guys? This has been such a wonderful, wonderful show. We only have a few minutes left, and I feel like I have so many questions to ask. So that means you guys have to come back on my show again.
Definitely.
Okay. But I want to talk about the purpose, one of the reasons that I brought you on, and that is the Awyken event that is coming up very soon. So could you please give us the dates, the information? How is that going to be? How can people get involved? And Bishop Ed, would you tell us how they can get involved?
We provide quality, certified training for those who like to be a professional life coach and be able to train other people. And so we have our next, what we call level 1. It's a 3-day, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, beginning on February 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of 2017 at our church location at the Zoe Christian Fellowship of Whittier. Awyken is spelled A-W-Y-K-E-N, not with an A, but with a Y. Mm-hmm. And that's on purpose. A number of reasons. One of the reasons is that we're awakening the potential in you.
Yes.
So they can go to awyken.com. If they put the promo code radio, listen to the station program, then they can use that and get a 50% discount. We're extending it to your audience now, and only those can get it because they listen to it, and then they can go in there and use a promo code radio, and they get a special 50% discount.
I love it. Now, Donovan.
Yes.
I know you are an Awyken coach.
Yes.
And I want you to give us how we can follow you, how can we be a part of what you have created, how we can buy your books.
Be a client.
Be a client,
All right.
all of that. Please give us all of that information, sir.
First thing let me spell out my long name.
Okay.
Donovan, middle name's D-E-E, last name's D-O-N-N-E-L-L. Donovan D. Donnell. Everything is under that name. So it's www.donovandonnell.com. Instagram, Facebook, it's all Donovan D. Donnell. YouTube is Donovan D. Donnell. So if you know my name, you can find me. Just put it in the Google search and various things are going to show up for you. You can buy my book on my website. My upcoming book will be on the website. To book an appointment with me, you can do it on my website. To just, if you're not ready for that yet, you just want to see more of my videos.
Yes.
I post a lot of them on Instagram and YouTube.
Love your YouTube videos. Love them.
How about 30 or 40 something videos?
Yes, you do. I love them.
If you want to know more about my personal life, then go on Facebook and you'll see me interacting with just, my family and friends, but also some encouraging words too. So that's where I'm at. And if you in the area, I'm in LA and Compton, Carson, all the time. So you might just see me at the gym or Chipotle.
And Bishop Ed, is everyone invited to Zoe?
Oh, yes. Yeah, everyone is invited. It's an open church. People of different backgrounds, different social strata, different nationalities. No matter what it really is a church for people who are looking for something. They really have a desire to get more out of life, and they're ready to make a change. That's the kind of church we are.
Yes.
Those who are at a place where there's more, they want more, and they're open to a change and to grow. And so, yes, those people are welcome. Anybody can come, even if you just kind of want to just take a peek and come look or hear, you're welcome.
Well, I want to thank everyone for listening. And don't forget to tune in every Friday at noon for Lunch with the Finance Bunch. You can follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook under @thefinancebunch.com. Thank you, gentlemen. It has been a pleasure and a blessing. And I told you guys to strap your boots on. There's so much information. You're going to have to listen to it 2, 3, 4, 5 times. So thank you again, gentlemen, for being on the show. I'm so appreciative.
Hey, man, it was my pleasure. I really enjoyed it.
Great.
Wonderful. My pleasure, too. Go to awyken.com.
Yay!